So, in this section, we're going to consider what is Islam. We're going to consider where did Islam come from and when.
Okay, so what is Islam? Well, Islam is a religion practiced by over 1.6 billion people worldwide. The word Islam is an Arabic word which means submission to the will of God. The word Muslim means one who submits to the will of God. Now, Islam is not a new religion. Muslims believe that God sent a series of prophets, including Abraham, David, Noah and Moses, who brought the same message, reaffirming the belief in one God, whom they referred to as Allah, Allah being the Arabic word for God.
Now, you may well recognise some of these names because what many people don't realise is that Judaism, Christianity and Islam are all branches of the same tree. So Judaism, Christianity and Islam all have the same fundamental belief in just one God.
All three also recognise Abraham as a significant prophet and as such are known as the Abrahamic religions. Of the three, Judaism is the oldest religion and Abraham is traditionally considered to be the very first Jew. Abraham's parents were pagans and worshipped multiple gods. Abraham believed that there was just one God and felt a calling to leave his city and travelled west to a country called Canaan, which is where Israel and Palestine are today.
Due to a great famine, many of Abraham's descendants moved and came to settle in Egypt, where they became enslaved. But here, a great man named Moses freed them from slavery and led them out of Egypt. Moses is highly regarded in both Christianity and Islam and is seen as the founding prophet of the Jewish faith today. In fact, the first 5 books of Moses form the sacred Jewish text, the Torah. And these books are Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers and Deuteronomy.
Christians may also recognise these as the first 5 books of the Old Testament, the formative part of the Bible, and Muslims also believe that these were the revelations of God. We now move to a time which is roughly 2,000 years ago. The Jewish people had returned to what we now know as Israel and Palestine, which was under Roman occupation. It is at this time that another remarkable person was born, Jesus. Also a descendant of Abraham, his birth is foretold to Mary, the mother of Jesus, by the angel Gabriel, who features in the Torah, the Bible and the Holy Quran.
Now, Jesus was a preacher, he was a miracle worker. He reaffirmed the oneness of God and spread a message of peace. Due to his extraordinary acts, many people were convinced that he was the Messiah, the legendary king that the Bible's Old Testament, which was fully assembled at this point, said would deliver Israel from their enemies.
According to Christian scriptures, the priestly authorities of the time, threatened by the popularity of Jesus, convinced the Roman authorities that he was a threat to the rule of Rome. Jesus was put on trial and the Roman ruler Pontius Pilate sanctions his execution. Christianity is born from the belief that on the Friday Jesus is crucified and on Sunday Jesus rose from the dead. This belief rapidly spreads throughout the Roman Empire and then the world.
Now, almost 600 years later, in or around 570 AD, another great man was sent by God. He was called Muhammad. Now, Muhammad was born in Mecca, the home of the Kaaba. Now, the Kaaba was the first house of worship ordained by God and built by Adam. It was reconstructed by Abraham and his son around 1900 BC, and Muhammad was also a direct descendant of Abraham. Muslims believe that Muhammad was the last and final messenger sent by God to reaffirm the same message that had been delivered by the earlier prophets, that being the oneness of God. It is to Prophet Muhammad that the Quran was revealed through the angel Gabriel over a period of 23 years.
Muslims believe that the Quran is the literal word of God, sent to all humankind to reinforce the message delivered by the previous prophets in the Torah, the Psalms of David, and the Gospels respectively. In fact, all of these books are mentioned in the Quran, as are all the aforementioned prophets. This is why Jews, Christians and Muslims have so much in common and are referred to as the Abrahamic religions.